Today we're going to be talking about depth of field. It's a photography term, but the concept is used in traditional and digital art. You've probably seen it a lot, but haven't really thought much about it. Basically, the term describes the distance at which visible objects are in focus. So for example, the image you see here on my screen, this small flower in the middle is in focus, but things closer are beginning to blur. And off in the distance, behind the flower, things are definitely out of focus. A little ways away from us, we have parts of the flower that are clearly in focus. These petals are quite blurry, close to us, and off in the distance we see a lot of blur. And our last example, this wasp, a pretty nicely defined focus area, sort of in our mid-ground here in this photograph. Close, things are clearly out of focus, and of course in the background things are clearly out of focus. So in Clip Studio Paint or whatever program you're using, we're going to load the Clip Studio version here. Let's look at this file. It doesn't really contain a lot right now. There's a background that's gray, 6 white boxes, and an empty layer above that. So my recommendation to start is click on the boxes layer, use your magic wand. Let's see, mine is select to add to selection. So I'm going to select each of these boxes. It'll add it to the overall selection. I'm going to go up to my select menu, convert to selection layer. This is going to be really useful for this exercise. It's going to help us stay within those boxes as we draw. So I've got the top layer selected, but down here below, notice that one of the icons says New Layer Folder. I'm going to click on that. I'm going to actually even drag the layer 1 into it. Notice this little downward arrow. If I click on that, it hides what's in the folder. So inside here, I'm going to create 4 more layers. So we have 5 total. Layer 1, I'm going to change this to far. I'm just going to call it far away or far. The next one up I'm going to call far-ish. You could call it anything, but we want them to make sure you know which one's the furthest away and which one's the closest. So this one we're going to call middle. Next we're going to call close-ish. And the last one we're going to call close. The next thing I want to do, I can close that up so I don't see all the layers for now, but I'm going to change the name of the folder. I'm going to call it upper left. So it's going to coincide with this upper left rectangle. If I right click on here, I can duplicate layer. In this case, the folder represents a layer. So duplicate. Now we've got upper left copy, and we're going to call it upper middle. I'm going to duplicate again. This time I'm going to call it upper right. Alright, I continued. I skipped to recording it, but now I've got a lower right, lower middle, lower left, upper right, upper middle, and upper left. If you really like to have things in the proper orders or whatever, you can drag the lower ones so that they are below the upper ones. Just makes sense, right? Inside of each you have all of the different layers. We don't need to see them all, so good reason to close all of the extra folders for now. We've created a nice folder structure for this piece, this exercise. I'm going to start with the folder called lower left. Before I get started, let's do this. Our selection layer literally is to help stay within our boxes. So I'm going to do a selection from the layer. Hide that layer so we don't have the green. Remember, you're working in the lower left box right now, or at least I am. So you're just working in this one right now. You've got 5 layers based on distance from the viewer or yourself. Up here in my color set, I've got a variety of grays. I'm going to use my flat fill tool. So let's go with the closest layer. I'm going to skip black, and in my case I've got a dark gray, and then they get lighter and lighter as they go, but we've got at least 5 variations of the black to white values. Starting out with the second darkest one of mine, again using the flat fill. I'm just going to, these are going to be landscapes for this exercise. These are just little thumbnail sketches. Don't worry about them being perfect. But let's say in our closest layer, maybe there's some weird alien tree or something there. Let's get that bottom filled in. There's another weird alien tree. These don't need to be perfect right now. Right now this is just sort of thumbnail sketches to figure out what our landscape might look like. That's it. That's all I'm going to put in that first layer. As I move to the close-ish layer, I'm also going to change to a slightly lighter value. Let's put a couple more alien-looking trees. This one's crossed over slightly. Maybe there's, let's do this. There's even a slight hill happening in this particular landscape. Let's do that there as well. There we go. Let's go with the middle distance from the camera or from the viewer. Go to another lighter value. A couple more of these guys. Let's go with some interesting rock formations right there. Next layer, far-ish, lighter value, and this time I want to put some more interesting rocks in. Now let's put one kind of right there. Alright, again, these don't have to be perfect. And for our far layer, again, lighter value, I'm going to put some fluffy clouds behind this stuff. Let's get a little lower one there. There we go. So at the moment, this doesn't really show depth of field. Not yet. For the sake of this exercise, we're going to choose the middle copy as in focus. If you need to change the name at this point, you certainly can. Just change that word copy to focus. There we go. So on each side of the focus, we're going to go to filter. We're going to blur. Choose one that is Gaussian blur. Not quite sure how to pronounce that word, but that's alright. We're going to set it at 6 for now. Mine just happens to be at that. I have it set to preview. Notice the closer level is already blurring, and it's starting to give us that sense of depth. For the closest one, instead of 6, we're going to double that. Whoops. Same type of blur. We're going to go 12. Middle one's in focus. The far-ish copy is going to be 6. And the far copy is going to be 12. Look at the sort of depth those changes in focus give this landscape. The things that are close are out of focus, the things at a distance are out of focus, but right there in the middle we have a nice area that truly is in focus. Now, it just happens that my weird alien trees are in a location that doesn't give them a lot of strength as the objects to be in focus, but I can go back to that middle focus layer again. If you're not sure about which color you used, get your eyedropper. Remember the alternate key also works. We can create a new little tree or something that becomes really the focus of that layer. Check that out. That being in focus really draws our attention, with these objects near being out of focus and the objects further away being out of focus. I almost would like to get rid of this guy. Yeah, I like that better, I think. Now we have a piece that has some depth of field in it. So we are finished with the lower left, so we can move on to the lower middle if we would like. Open up that folder. Let's see, what should we create? We want a slightly different landscape. How about this time, let's see, that's some kind of pine tree looking thing or something. Next layer, remember as you go down in layers, at least for now, we're going to go with a lighter value as well. Go down a layer, lighten the value. We've got some crazy rockiness to this part of the landscape. Next layer, down a notch. We'll just add a little depth to these rocks. And in my furthest layer, again, I might, well, let's see, what if we had some strange, very large, creepy trees in the distance? Does that look kind of creepy? Maybe. This guy is our closest layer, and we've chosen to have it as the focus layer. And the next layer down, we're going to blur. 6 might be too much for that distance away. In fact, let's back it up to 4. And then the next one's going to be 8, 12, and final layer, 16. Well, that looks kind of cool. I like that. Alright, we've got 2 examples now of different landscapes with different shapes in them. You've got 6 to do total. Try to come up with different approaches, different odd shapes, creating a landscape.